Hi, Craig.
All right, for anybody watching, this is Susan Thomson. She is one of our franchise partners in Madison, Wisconsin. And I've known Susan now for, gosh, what? How long have you been part of Action Coach, Susan?
13 years.
13 years. So I've known you for almost 13 years
Right.
because I think we started working together not long after you started.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, if you don't mind, Susan, just share a little bit about your background. What were you doing prior to Coach, and what made you want to leave that world?
I come out of the manufacturing world, so this was not on my radar screen. I loved manufacturing and had gotten to a point with the company that I was running that it had just basically turned into a sales job. It was a turnaround operation, and I was on a plane Monday through Friday, and A, that's not how I can add value to a company, and B, I didn't like being away from home. So I was looking for the next adventure for Susan and kind of stumbled on Action Coach. And when I looked at the model and I talked to some of the coaches in the area, I was just like, oh my gosh, I would have killed for this as a CEO. Like I get it. I get the need. So for me, it was very easy. I went through the due diligence process, which I imagine most people watching this are doing as well, and haven't looked back. It's been fantastic.
That's awesome. And you went now. If you started 13 years ago, you started not long before the Great Recession kicked off in gear.
So I launched this in the fourth quarter of 2007.
So a year before Lehman went out of business.
Well, and right before, I don't know how things happened in Ohio, but here, January, February, March 2008 is when people,
When it really started, yeah.
yeah, when people really started to realize what was happening, and it was interesting because in 2007, everybody was, fat and happy, and nobody back then, nobody understood what business coaching was. It was really new. And and they thought it was just for like broken companies. There's just a lot of
Right.
awareness building that needed to happen, and some of those same people weren't in business 6 months later. So the cool thing about the time that we started was we got to set the market. We got to set the pricing. We got to set the expectations about what business coaching is about, and that you should get a return on your investment. And no, it's not life coaching. And no, we don't burn incense in the back room. It's
Yeah.
it's the
It's not
whole,
just a bunch of woo-woo stuff. Yeah.
right. It's the whole business, and here's what you should expect. And I like that. I like being able to set the bar because we set it high. And some companies took a chance on us and gave us a shot, and those companies did extremely well during the recession. Like we had clients that were paying bonuses, and we had clients that were continuing to grow in industries that were contracting really heavily. And that was a great thing for me to be able to go out into the community with, and be able to say, hey, you know what? There's perception and there's reality. These companies are not only just doing fine, they're doing extremely well.
Yeah.
So this works.
So that really helped it grow from there with those experiences. That's great.
Right.
And so when you, as you've gotten going and you haven't looked back, like you mentioned earlier, could you describe, we're very big on the culture of the Action Coach, obviously, and we tell every one of our candidates right up front, you better look thoroughly at our culture. And I know me coming out of the corporate world as well, I remember having those same conversations with the person I was being recruited by at the time and being vetted by. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, whatever. It sounds kind of mom and apple pie, and that's cool. If it's half that good, it's better than what I came from. But I'll still have my own business. So I know at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And at least for me, I found the culture is dead serious, and we're really serious about it, and we live it every day. And those who don't aren't going to succeed in our business anyway. But
Right.
could you share some of your thoughts about our culture?
Well, so I too came out of a very scarcity minded environment that was highly political, and people did all kinds of awful things to each other. It wasn't a very nice place to be. And I I knew in my gut that you shouldn't have to be a jerk to be successful, right?
Mm,
But
yeah.
that's not the environment that I was immersed in at the time. And so when I came to Action Coach, you feel that culture very quickly, very, very quickly. People are happy to sit down and talk with you. People are happy to help. I remember I had to do I had set I joined a BNI group, and I said, oh, I'll do a presentation on cash flow for anybody who wants to come and learn about it. And then I couldn't find anything called cash flow, and I called another coach in a panic, and they sent me a presentation on cash flow. And I tried to pay them, and they were like, no, 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 you don't get it, you don't get it. Like this is
That's
the
not
way.
who we are. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the way we roll. And you, before long, you'll be giving back to the community as well. And I just I can't say enough about the culture. There are so many people around the world that genuinely want to see me succeed and will do anything in their power to help. And I would do the same for anybody else in the Action Coach system. I had to learn what abundant really meant and how
Mm,
it's lived out in this culture, because I got it up here. I didn't get it here when I
right.
started. And I think the culture of this organization and of the coaching community and the support community and even in our client community, um, really are changing the way business is done in a meaningful way, that you can be a good person and be happy who you're looking at in the mirror in the morning and be wildly successful.
Right.
And these folks have become dear friends over the years. They're like family. I love seeing them. and I feel so supported and so genuinely cared for. And I hope that I can do the same for others.
Well, I know you definitely do the same for others. In fact, I just asked you to reach out to somebody about a week or so ago, and he
Right.
is off to the races. So thank you.
Sure.
And from a systems and tools perspective, you mentioned, gosh, I wish I would have had this as a CEO, and I can see the value. Obviously, there's a lot of people that probably look at this and think, oh, maybe I could just do this on my own. I'm a smart guy, or a gal, and I've got some great experience, and I'll just quote unquote be an independent coach or consultant and help people. Uh, did you go through that thought process at all when you were first coming, considering this kind of stuff or not?
No, when I looked at the toolbox, I figured it would take a good decade to build that and test it and measure it and really roll it out, and do it well.
There's no
I
way.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way. I don't think, even if you already had a consulting business, I don't think you could touch the level of intellectual property that is here and available to us, without at least 4 or 5 years of trying something, testing it, tweaking it, trying it again. I think you just that learning curve and that testing curve would be so steep for so long. To me, that was you know what, it's done. It's done. It's
Right.
proven. I don't need to wonder whether this is the right direction, because those paths have already been
Mm.
trod.
Yep. That's what I saw as well when I dug into it. And at the time, that was almost 20 years ago for me.
Gosh.
But I look back now and I'm like, it would take me a decade, like you said, to even catch up with what's already here. And that's assuming that that Action Coach goes nowhere with it. And it's so much bigger and more robust
Right.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The level of IP that was in there when I started, which was a lot versus what's in there now, is night and day. And
yeah.
a lot of that is coaches continuing to contribute to the community.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Susan. A lot of franchise organizations, some people will look at franchises because of the cookie cutter systems, and they need those controls in place. Like you go to if you buy a McDonald's franchise, you serve the menu that they tell you you have to serve, and
Right.
you can't add anything to it. You can't, do any of that kind of stuff. Here at Action Coach, we're very different that way. We add our own critical thinking. How important is that from your perspective, that the community is what's really creating the future? It's not handed down from on high.
Um, I probably wouldn't have done it if it were highly, highly structured and
Mm,
and really rigid in its um, implementation. I think that there's two sides of the coin of having a lot of latitude to build this business the way you want to build it, and not getting overwhelmed with the menu of opportunities to do so.
right.
So the critical thinking piece is a big piece. And one of the things that I love about the community and about the sharing is that every time we think we've hit the top, somebody else busts through it
Yeah,
and and shows us that, hey, this is possible. Like, let's your sights a little higher. And that's fun.
it is. It is. And you, I know we've talked about this in the past, but you've got a short boredom fuse, right?
Oh,
You
big
get bored
time.
pretty easily. So
Big time.
so as you were looking to get into this, was originally, now granted, I didn't recruit you because we ended up buying the Wisconsin territory, but back then, were you considering, like, will I get bored in this, and have you or not? Was that a concern of yours?
That was actually my big concern, was that I would get bored, because I had never been in a role in my corporate life. I'd been with companies for longer than this, but I'd never been in one role for any longer than 3 years. And
Okay.
at the time, I think this was a seven-year commitment, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've never done anything for 7 years. Like, that to me was the tough one. And when it came time to renew our licenses, it wasn't even a second thought. I mean, I've I'm still, after 13 years, on a learning curve like this, and that's part of what makes it really fun and challenging and energizing, is that there's always um, the ability to push myself to be better and learn more and apply
Right.
more and reach more people and have a bigger impact. And I can't do that with the same mindset and the same skill set and the same belief set that I had 6 months ago.
Right. Exactly. Now, speaking of, what was your vision and goal when you first started compared to what is it today?
Oh gosh. So first, when I first started, I just wanted to replace my income. Like, if I could just
Okay.
replace my income, um, that'll be fine, and it'll be fun. And I want to grow a team because I don't like being alone. I'm a people person.
Yep.
And um, then it became, when I teamed up with Mike McKay, who's my partner in this firm. Our first goal was to build a $5 million firm, and there was nothing, no rhyme or reason around that number other than, it just sounds like a cool number, so let's go try and hit it.
Yeah.
And and somewhere along the way, we learned, I don't know, we conquered whatever we needed to conquer right up
Right.
here, and neither of us were really excited about that $5 million target anymore. And and got, I'm not going to say we coasted, because we kept trying different things, but we got kind of we kind of plateaued, and then had the opportunity to go spend a couple of days with Brad Sugars, and we're sharing, you know, our frustration with him, and he said, you know, you guys just aren't excited about your vision anymore. Like go get a bigger vision.
Yeah.
And he helped us with that. And that vision is now to have $100 million firm. And here's why that's important. At our current average dollar sale, which is about $1,400, that's about 5,500 clients we would touch every single week. So 5,500 clients, if every one of those clients has 10 employees on average, that's 55,000 employees and 55,000 families that we get to teach a
Make a
different way.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's
So,
really all about.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really exciting and compelling.
Now you mentioned the $1,400, a typical average client sale per month. Now that includes both group programs, which are much lower priced, as well as one-on-one programs. That's an average across all of them.
Yeah, and our average dollar sale prior to that was probably around $2,300-$2,400. And when we decided to go big and reach that many more businesses, we opened up the entire product ladder. So
Gotcha. So you were primarily focused on one-on-one
and
clients
and
prior.
very, yeah, in very small groups. So,
Okay.
so this added in Action Club, Profit Club, Mentor Club, all of those group programs, which have a ton of leverage, and they're actually really fun to
Yeah.
to administer. But that's where we figured our average dollar sale would come down, is
Yep.
just to reach the big part of the bell curve in the middle. We were going to have a set of products that we just hadn't been using.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. And so you mentioned Brad a little bit. Some people look at Brad and they go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so intimidated by him because he's this gifted guy." Some people go, "Oh my gosh, he's, you know, got that Aussie kind of personality and, you know, things like that." What would you say about Brad in terms of just his brilliance and giftedness and all that kind of stuff?
You know, Brad, he is probably one of the smartest business people I've ever met and been able to work with. And at a minimum, we see him 2-3 times a year at a minimum, oftentimes more than that. So
No,
I've
that's by choice. That's by choice on your end
correct.
because
Yeah,
you're choosing to take advantage of some of the support
correct.
programs that are available.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's the global conference and the North American conference, and or BizX. And then anytime Brad has a master class or something like that, we'll take advantage of those to go continue to improve our learning. And I I can listen to Brad talk about the same topic and still take 10 pages of notes,
Yeah.
because I'm in a different place,
Yeah.
and I'm just gleaning different things from what he's saying. And Brad as a coach is a damn good coach. Like he'll push you just like a good coach should.
Yeah. He's tough.
Yeah. Brad
Yeah.
as a teacher is a very patient, very is really wanting you to not just understand things, but really be able to master them. And so he really gets in deep in terms of the
Yeah.
topics that you meet with him, either one-on-one on, or you know, in some sort of a group format. But he's absolutely accessible. And I think out of all the businesses that Brad owns, this is probably his favorite.
The baby. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one that I think really feeds his soul, and he's very, very passionate about. And it shows. It comes through.
Yeah. It definitely does. Uh, talk about the caliber of the people within Action Coach. Like you were a CEO of a manufacturing company prior to this, and what's the caliber of the people that you get to call colleagues every day of your life doing
I
this?
am humbled by the people I get to call colleagues. I'm blown away. And even of the folks who are on our team as salaried coaches, I'm
Mhm.
humbled by the caliber of those folks that
Yes.
they have. They've run companies, they've owned companies, they've had significant responsibilities within larger companies, and they want to help people. So you have the the really nice combination of high technical skill and leadership ability combined with heart and people that are really doing this for the right reasons, that they really just want to make a difference in the world and in people's lives, and um, had just happen to have these amazing skill sets to pull from to do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I've been too. I remember when I was first looking, because I jumped out when I was in my early 30s. I jumped out of the corporate world. And I was talking to some of the people in Action Coach. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be leapfrogging a decade in my career to be hanging out
Yeah,
with these folks. But the systems and the support, and like you said, the culture and the community, just as long as I've got the passion and the smarts and the drive to go after it and the heart to do it for the right reasons. It's a
right.
pretty cool business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what about the support that you get from the community at large, from the master licensee, from us, et cetera? Well,
I can't say enough about it. I know when one of the questions that I'm often asked on validation calls is it worth it? Like, would you redo it? You know, would you re-up again? And the answer was, well, yeah, I just did a couple of years ago for another 8 or 10 years or however long it is, and wouldn't think twice about it because the support is incredible. I I can't say enough for what you and Annette do for us. All we have to do, well, we talk with you every morning um, on a huddle call, and all we have to do is say, hey, I need some help or some guidance or something here, and you guys are there. You're there for us personally. You're there for us as franchisees. um, the other people in the community, I feel like I could pick up the telephone and call anyone around the world, and that person will talk to me as soon as they possibly can. And I do the same. I just did a team training for the Portugal team a
oh,
couple of
that's
weeks
awesome.
ago. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun. They just wanted they wanted some to understand how we approached um, really qualifying leads during this whole COVID thing, and so we just talked for an hour with their team. It was great, and
That's awesome.
any coach in the world would do that for us too.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's the way. That's just the culture of Action Coach. So speak about COVID briefly, and that kind of came out of the blue, really quick, hit us hard as a nation, a little bit unexpected. And from your perspective, how quickly did Action Coach respond to that in terms of new programs, marketing materials, things like that? What was the response that you saw from the franchisor and the master licensees and the community at large?
So I think it was the very next day after all of these safer at home or stay at home orders were issued all over the place that Brad was out with um, a daily webinar on Survive and Thrive. And we took his webinar and the very next day started doing free events to our community here in Madison, and did that from mid-March until June, and then just started to get some drop off in attendance because people are finally starting to get their heads around it a little bit. um, and gosh, and then you guys were with us doing, you know, what are the cool ideas that are coming out of your clients who are doing pivots, and I've got a laundry list of that kind of stuff that we were able to share with our coaching team. Brad came out with a 10-day free 10 session, 10 session Survive and Thrive online learning. They've published a couple of free ebooks, and we actually downloaded a couple of those and had them printed. We gave those as just giveaways. So just, you know, the response in the community was right there, and it was appropriate. And I know at least here the community took notice. I got thanked by more heads of chambers of commerce that we were out being there as a resource for people in the community who were very frightened and were trying to figure out what to do next, and just publicly thanking us for our support of, in this case, Madison and parts of Milwaukee. And that was pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't expecting, I was hoping that they would help us get the word out, and they not only helped us get the word out, they pushed the word out and then gave us really public kudos and acknowledgments for those people that took advantage of it.
That's fantastic.
It was really cool.
Yeah, it was. When those stay-at-home orders hit, I was on spring break with Leah, and we came back from spring break like 2 days after the stay-at-home orders got issued, and same thing. I got back home, and all of a sudden, boom! There's all this stuff that came from, you know, Vegas and all that. I was like, wow! I can just take it and run with it.
Right.
I don't have to sit down and figure out what am I going to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool.
We just took those presentations and did them.
Yeah. So clients, did you lose all your clients during COVID? Did you, what ended up happening from that perspective?
No, one of the things that we were anticipating there would be some sort of a market correction, because we've been just riding that curve for so long. So we've had clients accumulating cash for a while. And part of it was, you know, you may need this to ride out the storm. And the other part of it was, it's going to be whenever the correction happens, there's going to be acquisition opportunities. So you can go acquire market share and you can acquire talent.
Right.
Because we were at the time under 2% unemployment in Dane County. So people were just crying for employees, and it was like,
tons of them out there.
Yeah, let's just go buy them. So they all had a cushion of cash that was probably 3 months ish.
Yep.
And then we took them through all the, Mike actually met every single night with every client that wanted to be on the Zoom call to talk through the EIDL and the PPP loan stuff and how to go about that. So we didn't, I think maybe 2 out of 60 paused that were completely shut down. I know one of them was a travel agent. And then the rest of them not only stayed in, but they started to really share what they were doing. And I'm so proud of them. They came up with some of the most creative pivot strategies that I've ever heard. Like, wow, that's really cool. I wouldn't come up with that.
It could be used with other clients now too.
Right.
Yep. And we all get better because of sharing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you see COVID helping or hurting us as an organization and your company and your firm coming out of this now? Is it going to be beneficial? Is it going to be, where's it going to play out, do you think, going forward?
I think it's going to be much like 2008, that we now, particularly because we did those community web events every single day, our database has added a couple hundred folks of people that we never would have met. they're not out at networking events, they're not at chamber meetings, but somehow got connected with us and during those events, and they're now in the pipeline, and they're out there for us to now start to connect with and build a relationship. So the really what we learned was that we've got to have more coming into the top of the funnel, because it takes longer to get people through the pipeline just because they don't know us.
Yep.
I'm an out in the community kind of person. Our business development people are kind of wired the same way, and this just gave us leverage we didn't have before. And now we've got to learn how, and we're learning. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's certainly gained some traction over the last 2 months. Learning how to build those relationships online that we just used to do in person.
Yep. Very cool. What would you recommend to somebody who's considering ActionCOACH and they go, this looks really cool and really interesting? How would you answer these two questions? Definitely do this if, and
Okay.
definitely don't if.
Okay. Definitely do this if you have a deep desire to impact people and either have a good solid business foundation or can pick it up quickly. Definitely don't do this if your primary driver is money, because that's going to come through and it's going to end up pushing people away. The money will come, but the money comes from
helping people.
From helping people.
Making a difference.
Yeah.
Good. Any other parting comments you would give just in general? Anything you want to share? Well, how important is it to have your own coach?
Oh my gosh. So you're going to laugh. So we're doing this presentation at Firm Day at the global conference tomorrow. Yep. And we listed out, we have pictures of all the coaches that we're paying to work with. Okay. And there's like 8 of them.
Wow.
And I remember early on thinking, oh my gosh, my initial thought was, I don't have the money to go hire a coach. Well, then it's a little hard to tell somebody else to come hire you, right? So there's a congruency thing there. And coaches are really great at helping us see the things we can't see, navigate through the things that we, where we're in uncharted territory. Some of them we use for very, very specific reasons. Like one of them is Sell from the Stage coach, and really learning that specific skill set, because that's part of the leveraged marketing model that we want to use here. You need the support. I would just, if you're going to do it, budget for a coach. You should be paying exactly what you're asking your clients to pay. Yep. And your coach is going to hold you accountable, just like you're going to hold people accountable. And I don't know that unless you're coached, you have any idea what you're actually really providing to people.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yep. I know with my coaches, it's makes all the difference. Same thing. I've got 3 coaches right now.
Yeah.
For different things, obviously.
Right. Yep. Right.
And so.
Yeah, just budget for it and do it. Just budget for it and do it. Good. It should just be part of it. Good. Part of the business plan. And do a business plan. Yes. We have a really good one called Planning Club. You can get it done in 2 days, so it doesn't need to take 6 months. And dragged out indefinitely, and it'll show you exactly what your model could look like. Yep. For the next 5 years.
What does a day in the life look like?
As a coach, when I was coaching full time, I had Mondays were our team day, and so team meetings, sales meetings, um, coaching other coaches, our time with our coach, prep time for client meetings, and then a pace that was very comfortable for me was 3 coaching sessions in the morning. Lunchtime has always been my business development time. I like to eat, so I may as well not have lunch. I may as well have somebody at lunch with me
Yep.
that's either a strategic partner or a potential client, and then 3 sessions in the afternoon. That was a really comfortable pace, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday was my catch up, reschedule, team training, all that other kind of stuff
Yep.
day. So that was as a coach. As a firm owner, it's actually changing because our Mike and I are still finding our way in terms of roles and who does what within the firm. Um, but I still coach 1 day a week, so that schedule still holds on Tuesdays. Monday is still team day, and our coaching day, and then I'm really dedicating Wednesday for us to my skill building around selling from the stage and um, building strategic alliances. Thursdays is Owner's Day for me and Mike, and that's been a really important and impactful day for us to just have a full day that we um, don't schedule other stuff. We don't do networking on Thursdays. We don't do client reschedules on Thursdays. That's our day as owners to sit down and work through things. And then Fridays, it's still kind of a catch up day, but it ends up getting filled in with, stuff
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How cool have the global conferences been through the years?
Oh, they're so fun. They're so fun. And Brad's always had the philosophy that if you're going to travel for work, it like make it good.
Let's make it
So
cool. Yeah.
so he always picks a bucket list location to go to. And
Yep.
oh my gosh, we've been to places I never dreamed that I would go, to Bali and South Africa and Fiji and Hamilton Island and Australia with you guys. And
Yeah.
um, I love Europe, so I was happy to go to Scotland and um, even some fun places in the United States, Southern California, the Bahamas, up in Vancouver, up in Canada,
Yeah.
just really cool areas of the world to go explore. And it's a business trip, and a lot of people bring family members, or they bring a spouse or a significant other, and um, coaches usually get together and go see the sites together and tour a little bit. And then that to me, global is like, that's my time to learn and to just be a sponge and to learn from the best coaches in the world and really recharge and recharge in a pretty cool place.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely love that part of our business too.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned BizX earlier. So our annual national conference, which includes client conference days.
Right.
Speak to that real quick and bringing clients and the value that brings.
So I don't remember when BizX actually started, because when I started, it just used to be the Americas conference, like the
Right.
winter
Just
conference,
coaches, action coaches. Yeah.
just coaches, and always world-class speakers like Jeffrey Gitomer and Jack Canfield and um, Stedman Graham and all just really amazing caliber speakers. And at some point, um, Brad opened that up for us to bring clients. And what I always tell clients is, this is the caliber of training that we get. right? And let's open it up to you and to your teams, because you're not going to be able to get this level of speakers and this level of community anywhere else in the world. You're going to be able to network with other clients who are on the same journey that you're on and trying to better themselves, and their businesses are on a rocket ship, and you'll learn as much from the other folks that are gathered there as from the speakers themselves. So we've typically had 20 to 30, even 35 clients come along, and it's a wonderful time for us to get 2-3 uninterrupted days with them and with their families, and take them out to dinner and really, thank them and treat them just with a ton of care and love, and
deepening the relationships a lot.
yeah.
And how much does it stretch their vision being there too, in terms of the go forward coaching relationship?
Huge. Yeah. And we have most of them applying for awards. So they're starting to, that's a really nice way. It kind of does two things. It lets them see just how far they've come. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't really realize we'd accomplished all that. And when they started, they didn't think any of that was even possible. And the other part is it really helps them get out in the community as award winners. And that's great. It's great for retention of their employees. It's great for recruiting new employees, and they feel great. It's accolades and recognition that they absolutely deserve, that they probably don't get anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So very cool. So yeah, I started asking this earlier, and then I jumped in and asked another question, and it led to all that. But any last comments or thoughts for somebody that would be considering joining Action Coach, joining our team?
Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. If you have gaps in your skills that you know are there, like I didn't know how to sell, okay, budget to work with a coach on selling.
Yep.
So that doesn't become a huge hurdle. And then take the leap. It's this is the kind of business and the kind of impact that I always felt in my heart was possible, but I didn't have any examples of around me. And now I have 1,000 examples of it around me, around the world, and in however many countries we're in now, 81 or 82 countries. And it's an incredible ride. I have never been pushed and challenged to grow this much. And we get to make good money doing it. It's pretty cool.
Well said.
Yeah.
Hey, Susan, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you on the conference call here in a little while, I think.
Yes, you will.
All right. Thanks a bunch.
Okay.